Hi.
Hey.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I'm really excited to chat with you about the show.
Oh my God, of course.
Okay, so let's dig in.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a theater artist who leapt into TV, and I assume that there were aspects of that you kind of had to learn on the go. And I'm curious if there's decisions that you made as a creator and writer intuitively in the first season that now when you look back, you're really proud of. Like,
Oh, I love that question. Yeah, I mean, it didn't only come from me. We worked with amazing producers who you know very well as well, who get it kind of on another level. So the fact that we had South Asian writers in the room, queer writers in the room, a South Asian female director as our second director, all in the first season. We had a non-binary key grip.
Poetry snaps.
Yeah, there was just like, I think we started knowing that we were going to try to do things a little differently. And I do feel like, you know, I think I was able to articulate how important it was to include trans and non-binary people in so many facets of how this thing is made. A lot of our musicians identify that way as well, including yourself on the second season, you know, so I don't know. Yeah, I think it's some of those impulses around I can only do my job if the environment feels this way. That I feel really, really proud of. I want to talk about the sexy moment in season one. Do you remember? It's in the 6th episode. It's the Ellen party.
Yeah.
It's Sabi and someone else kind of getting it on. And I loved all the conversations around that. The actor who plays that role is a trans dude. And we had a really lovely conversation before we even filmed the scene about what feels right and comfy for us, and about the wardrobe as well that Sabi's in. I was really specific about what I wanted to kind of feel like. I don't know, that's one thing that's coming up for me because I think our sexuality and how it's portrayed really matters. I know you talk about that on Popstar too.
Totally. Right? A lot of my questions are about sex. So we'll come back to that.
Oh, okay.
Not a lot of them,
but,
oh my God. But that's great. We're on we're on the same wavelength here. So so one of the things I've heard you say actually and talk about is that you've always imagined or hoped for 3 seasons. And I love that specificity. And I'm curious, like, why 3? Why not 2? Why not 4? And like, did you sort of have it all mapped out, or like, so if you can just talk more about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely not all mapped out. It really did feel like it was a response to what kind of went down in season 2, you know? Like, when we started writing, sort of, I did not know that Bessie and Sabi were going to kiss each other. Like, that was not a thing that I wanted to secretly kind of build up to. And when it happened, it felt so right and so wrong and so like the show, you know? And then it just kind of felt like this 3rd season is so much about the characters responding to what happened to them in the 2nd season and making choices about who they feel they are now in the world. And it just felt right. Like, we had conversations about, is there a 4th? Could there be a 4th? And in the end, it just, the way we kind of wrap up, quote unquote, these stories just felt so like our show, like undone, but also kind of complete, achy and funny. Like, it just felt right.
You have many responses to the show, and I'm going to read some of these beautiful responses, but I'm curious for you if there's one that's like really surprised you, really stood out to you, that you've just like, you've held on to.
I mean, I kind of go 2 ways about it. I know of trans and non-binary children who have found this show and it kind of means everything to them.
It's beautiful.
And it really, I know of examples where this show helped the relationship between those trans kids and their parents, like that the parents found a kind of understanding or a deeper sense of who their child might be through the show. Like that feels kind of next level.
I remember watching the first season. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
I remember watching the first season and being like, this is something I can show to my mom. Like it was like felt like one of the first times that I felt like I could do that. That show something for my parents to see that could then help them see me.
Yes.
So
yes.
yeah, thank you for that.
And then 70-year-olds, like for real.
Love those 70-year-olds.
Multiple 70-year-olds have messaged me saying they love the show.
Amazing. What are they saying? What are the 70-year-olds like?
I mean, they often reach me through Facebook Messenger, which
Of course.
I love.
What
I
else?
love,
Where else are they going to be?
Let's go. But they kind of talk about how they learned something through the show, and they find it funny. I don't want to generalize all of them. You know, they're
not a monolith. Okay, they're different.
So yeah, it feels like they're responding to the humor and to the kind of gentleness in which the show is made, I feel.
Yeah, it feels like you're letting go pretty easily.
Is that what you think I'm doing? Sabi, I built it and no one came. Or not enough of them.
So one of the common themes in queer media for me that I've noticed is this sort of rallying to save or create some kind of queer establishment. And we see this also in sort of with Bar Book and later the ambitious art club Berlin. I'm curious why this particular theme was important for you in the show.
You know, on a personal level, I think my heart broke into a million pieces when Beaver shut down.
Oof. And that was during the pandemic.
That was during the pandemic, and it's been happening to our communities kind of forever, whatever.
We keep losing spaces. Sorry to interrupt, but I had a friend say to me, like, he never thought growing up that we were actually going to lose spaces as opposed to gain spaces.
Yeah, and it was a thing that, I know that my friends were talking about a lot, and this idea of where do we go? Where do we go for any kind of an experience? It doesn't always have to be about partying and drinking or whatever, but just to vibe, to have a moment from this world that can be so cruel so often. So it felt like, I thought it was, and then there's this thing of aspiration as well on the show. We
show possibility.
Yes, and so I think that was a really exciting turn for the venture, to kind of get bigger. And I know maybe it's not the most realistic thing or whatever, particularly in this city and economy.
I love it.
But yeah.
Giant space.
Yeah, it's like,
why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why that possibility, I think.
You're here.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, I love the relationships in the show. And for me, one of the things I did struggle with the first season is just how much Sabi is taking care of other people. And I remember talking to you about this, being like, Sabi needs to have a life in second season. And I think for me, a big agenda is more sex for Sabi. And how do we have more sex for Sabi? And so I actually really loved this scene in the second season with Olympia.
Yeah.
And seeing some bare skin, we've seen the sort of iconic throwback on the sheets shots so many times, but actually to watch two trans people reimagine that scene, take that scene and make it your own, I was like, oh, I've never seen that in media before. So I'm just curious, what shooting that scene was like for you.
It's so funny. This is all so new to me, right? Filming sex scenes,
Exactly.
was never a thing that I had done before.
We saw somebody.
Yeah. I think we work with an intimacy coordinator. I think that's super important. And Cassandra James, who plays Olympia, we have a fun little thing, she's so... she makes me laugh a lot.
She's perfect. She is perfect.
And the contrast, while they're both trans femme, like the visual kind of contrast between the Sabi and Olympia, I thought also was really striking and important, and it was fun. Like Fab directed that scene. You know, I'm kind of loving that the direction around sex and intimacy is to be gentle about it and not rushed and, you know, or angry or something. And I remember it being a really fun, sexy little scene.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done. Okay, I have some popcorn questions for you, so some rapid fire.
Okay.
So the first answer that comes to mind. This is supposed to be fun.
Yeah. I'll have fun. I promise.
Okay, so I loved a lot of the support characters like Gaia and Olympia. If you could give any of the supporting characters a spin-off, who would it be?
Oh my gosh.
Have to pick one.
Arrow.
Arrow. Okay,
Yes.
and really quickly, why?
I think that they would get into a lot of trouble, and that would be a lot of fun to see, like naughty queer trouble.
I love that. Okay, your favorite subby look?
Oh my God. I'm sorry, I have to be quick with this. Okay. Should I pick between 1 and 2 because y'all won't know the season 3 looks? Okay. You know what? I will say I actually loved the look in the mosque.
I'm just trying to be honest about what I feel inside, to myself, to you, to the world, or whatever, which is like, okay, maybe that's hard, but isn't it harder to go through life pretending to be someone you're not?
Being the way you are makes you easy target.
Bad things are gonna happen to like everyone. I'm not gonna like not live.
I understand that too.
You do?
You do?
It's a green overall on top of a green long sleeve, and there's so much going on, florals and Sabi's got little kind of pom poms in their hair and this pink lip, and when we were kind of putting the look together, they almost looked like a doll, like a doll, and then when we put them in the kids' room of the mosque, I don't know, to me it was really exciting and confusing, like, and I think one thing that I loved about kind of playing underneath all the time was Sabi feeling, oh, I wore the wrong thing again. To, you know, like which feels like such a real experience.
Totally. Okay, your favorite scene to shoot?
My favorite scene to shoot.
Or write, if you prefer.
Well, you know, I think about all the way back in season 1, the moment where it's after the Ellen party. Both Sabi and Seven have kind of slept with the trans dude, and then Olympia's there, and then it's a moment where the 4 of them are just having kind of champagne and laughing. And, and I remember when we were conceiving that moment in the writer's room, how epic it felt to be able to hold all of those genders and skin colors in one scene, having a good time, like not dying or talking about their trauma. You know? So
beautiful.
Yeah, I love that scene.
Wow.